Let me tell you something real, enough to wake your soul from the numbness of your patterns. Men will risk kingdoms, crowns, and callings if you do this. But I'm not talking about your body. I'm not talking about your curves. I'm not talking about some temporary high that disappears when the sun comes up. I'm talking about your presence, your essence, your divine fire. Men will risk everything, not for a woman who performs, but for a woman who embodies. A woman who walks into the room and doesn't need to speak for the atmosphere to shift. A woman who doesn't beg to be seen because she's already deeply known. You've been trained to perform. We've all been raised on the belief that we need to put on a show, dress a certain way, talk a certain way, even act like someone we're not to be accepted, loved, or recognized. You've perfected the art of performing. Whether it's for your job, your friends, or let's be real, social media. The thing is, we've come to a place where we're so used to wearing masks that sometimes we forget who we really are underneath it all. And it's exhausting. The moment you stop performing and start being, you unlock a power so undeniable, so real, that nothing and no one can ignore it. Think about it. You've seen it. That person who doesn't need to scream or beg for attention. They don't have to make their presence known because it's felt. Their energy speaks louder than their words, and it's magnetic. People are drawn to them, not because of what they do, but because of who they are. That's the difference between performing and being. Take a moment to reflect on the last time you were truly yourself. Unfiltered, unpolished, unapologetically you. Not worry about how you looked, how you sounded, or if you said the right thing. Do you remember the freedom, that relief? That is what it feels like to stop performing and just be. Performing on the surface feels like it's getting us somewhere. We want to be liked, admired, accepted, loved, and so we play the game. Smile when we want to cry, agree when we want to speak up, be what others want us to be. But what happens in the long run? You lose yourself. You start becoming a reflection of what others expect you to be, and in doing so, you stop growing. You stop living, you stop being. This is where we get stuck, chasing validation in all the wrong places. It's the constant approval seeking cycle, the social media posts that get likes, the compliments from strangers that keep you going for a moment, but it's all fleeting. It's not real. It's not you. It's just a performance. Imagine you stop trying to impress everyone. Imagine you stop curating your life for other people's approval. You stop editing your personality to fit into boxes they created. Instead, you live authentically, comfortable in your own skin, comfortable with your own thoughts, your quirks, your truth. Now let's bring this into the everyday world. Picture a woman who wakes up every morning knowing exactly who she is and what she stands for. She doesn't need the world to tell her she's worthy because she knows it already. She doesn't need to put on a mask to go to work. She doesn't need to post a perfectly curated picture to feel validated. She simply shows up. She's real with her family, real with her friends, real with her colleagues, and most importantly, real with herself. One day she walks into a meeting and she doesn't speak to impress. She speaks because she has something to say. Her words carry weight, not because they are rehearsed or tailored to what others want to hear, but because they come from her authentic, unfiltered self. And do you know what happens? People listen, they stop, pay attention, and respect her, not because she's acting or performing, but because they can feel her presence. Have you ever noticed how people who don't try to impress you are often the ones who leave a lasting impression? You can't put your finger on it, but there's something magnetic about them, something different. They've stopped pretending to be what others want them to be and have chosen instead to stand firm in who they are. In your daily life, this is the magic you can tap into when you stop performing and start being. Let go of the masks, let go of the act. Instead of trying to meet other people's expectations, meet your own. Be honest about what you want, what you need, and what makes you truly happy. The world has enough actors. The world needs realness, authenticity, and vulnerability. Think about your relationships for a second. How many times have you adjusted your personality, your desires, or even your dreams just to fit into someone else's narrative? How many times have you held back a piece of yourself to make someone else feel comfortable? Now, imagine if you didn't do that anymore. Imagine if you were so solid in yourself that you no longer needed to perform. You'd show up as you are, messy, beautiful, complicated, and enough. When you stop performing, you stop asking for permission, you stop waiting for someone to validate your worth, you become so rooted in your truth that the opinions of others don't define you. You become the kind of person who isn't afraid to step into spaces where your authenticity challenges the status quo. And here's the thing, when you stop performing, you inspire others to do the same. But it's not just about how others respond, it's about how you feel. No more pretending to be someone else just to fit in. No more trying to impress people who don't matter. No more second guessing your worth based on what someone else thinks. You are enough as you are right now. You don't have to perform to prove it. So take a deep breath and remember, you were born to be you. Stop playing small. Stop shrinking to fit into boxes that weren't made for you. The world doesn't need more performers. It needs more beings, more people who know who they are, what they stand for, and what they bring to the table. And when you start being, you'll notice something amazing happen. The people who are meant for you will start showing up. Those who will love the real you, respect the real you, and value you for your authenticity will come closer. You won't have to chase them. You won't have to perform for them. They will be drawn to the truth you carry inside. There's something deep inside us that tells us if we don't chase, we'll lose. If we don't fight for it, it'll slip through our fingers. If we don't keep pushing, we'll be left behind. We've been sold this lie that in order to have success, in order to have love, in order to be respected, we must chase it, relentlessly pursue it like it's something that can only be obtained through sheer force, sweat, and struggle. We wear ourselves thin, we hustle until our bodies give out, we chase after things that we don't even truly need, all because we've been taught that this is the way. But what if I told you that you could have everything you need without the chase? What if I told you that there's power in resting, in not constantly striving, in stepping back and letting the universe do what it's meant to do? There is something incredibly powerful in simply choosing to rest. It might sound counterintuitive, especially when the world around us constantly tells us to move faster, to get ahead, to outdo others. But let's take a moment and reflect on how much of our lives are spent in pursuit of something that we don't even need to chase in the first place. Let's talk about the pressure we put on ourselves. Every day we wake up, the clock is ticking, the world is moving faster, and we feel the need to catch up. There's a sense of urgency in everything we do. The job we want, the promotion we think we deserve, the relationships we feel we're running out of time to nurture, the approval we crave. We think if we don't chase it, if we don't put in every ounce of energy, we'll lose. So we run ourselves ragged only to find ourselves exhausted, disconnected, and worst of all, unfulfilled. But what if instead of running, instead of chasing after the next big thing, we chose to rest? What if we chose to take a step back, to breathe, to trust that what's meant for us will not pass us by? What if we stopped thinking that every opportunity required us to break a sweat to get it, and instead we learned the art of letting things come to us when the time is right? I want you to think about nature for a second. Look at the way a tree grows. Does it chase after sunlight? Does it force its way into the sky? No, it simply rests, roots itself deeply in the earth, and trusts that the sun will shine on it when it's time. The tree doesn't try to rush the process, doesn't push itself to grow faster than it's meant to. It takes what it needs, water, sunlight, air, and allows itself to grow at its own pace. There is no frantic chasing. There is no hurry. It simply is. And guess what? It grows strong, tall, and beautiful, not because it chased something, but because it rested in its natural rhythm. Now, I want you to take that lesson and apply it to your life. Stop trying to chase after things that are already meant for you. Stop running after love, success, recognition, and approval. When you chase, you push things away. When you chase, you show the universe that you don't trust its timing, that you don't believe what's meant for you will find you. But when you rest, when you let go of the grip you have on your future, you make space for things to unfold naturally. You see, rest is not about being passive or doing nothing. It's not about giving up or becoming complacent. It's about trusting the process. It's about saying, I've done my part. I've worked hard. I've given my best. Now I'm going to let life take care of the rest. When you rest, you create the space for clarity, for peace, for the answers to come. You stop cluttering your mind with worry and fear, and instead you open yourself up to possibility. In our daily lives, how many times have we pushed ourselves so hard thinking that we need to chase after everything only to end up feeling more drained, more frustrated, and less fulfilled? We hustle for promotions, we chase after validation, we overextend ourselves for the approval of others. But at the end of the day, when we lie down exhausted, how many of us feel at peace with the chase? How many of us feel a deep sense of satisfaction knowing that we've been true to ourselves, that we've done what we've needed to do, and now we can let go of the rest? Think about the relationships you've been trying to force. How many times have you chased after someone's attention, someone's love, someone's approval? You've called, texted, put yourself out there, overextended yourself, only to be left wondering why it feels so empty. You've been chasing something that doesn't need to be chased. Real love doesn't need chasing. True connection doesn't need begging. When you rest in your own worth, when you stand firm in who you are, the right people will come to you. They will see your value and they will meet you halfway, but you can't force them, you can't chase them. Now, let's talk about career. How many of you have been running the race, pushing yourself to the limit, thinking that if you don't hustle harder, if you don't prove yourself every single day, you'll be overlooked or passed by? But what happens when you step back, take a deep breath, and allow yourself to rest for a moment? You give yourself room to reflect, to regain your focus, to realign your purpose. You create space for the right opportunities to come to you without the constant pressure of chasing after them. In the end, it's about balance. It's about knowing when to put in the work and when to let go. It's about understanding that you don't have to chase after everything that's meant for you. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is to trust that what you need will come when you're ready for it. There's something incredibly powerful about owning your story. I'm not just talking about remembering the good times or reflecting on the wins. I'm talking about truly embracing every part of your journey, the parts you're proud of, yes, but also the parts that make you uncomfortable, the parts that scare you, the parts that hurt. We spend so much of our lives hiding from our past, running away from the parts of ourselves that we think make us weak, broken, or unworthy. But here's the thing, your story is your strength, and until you own it, every single chapter of it, you'll never fully understand your power. The truth is, your story isn't just about what happened to you. It's about how you respond to what's happened to you. Every hardship you faced, every setback, every heartache, every failure, these are not marks of shame, but stepping stones. These moments have shaped you, but they do not define you. You get to define who you are in spite of them. In fact, you are stronger because of them. Think about it. How many of us have been made to feel ashamed of our struggles? We've all been taught that we need to gloss over the difficult parts, to present the polished version of our lives, the highlight reel that looks perfect from the outside. We post the good pictures, the beautiful moments, and hide the messy parts. Because somewhere along the line, we were taught that those messy parts were something to be ashamed of. But what if I told you that your scars, your flaws, your imperfections, and your mistakes were not weaknesses? What if I told you that they are the very things that make you unique, make you real, make you powerful? Look at the lives of people you admire, those who seem unshakable, those whose light seems to shine so brightly. Now ask yourself, do you think they're perfect? Do you think they've never been broken, never been betrayed, never faced adversity? Absolutely not. What makes them stand out is their willingness to own their story, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And not only that, but to wear it proudly as a badge of honor. They don't hide behind filters or curated versions of their lives. They stand in their truth, no matter how messy or painful it might be. And that's why people are drawn to them. They see the authenticity, the realness, and they respect it. Take a moment and think about your own life. How many parts of your story have you hidden away in the dark corners of your heart out of fear or shame? How many moments have you pushed down because they didn't fit the image of perfection that society told you to uphold? The truth is, your past, no matter how messy it is, holds the power to shape your future. But you can't access that power until you own it. All of it. There's strength in vulnerability. There's power in saying, yes, I've been through things. Yes, I've fallen, I've failed, I've been hurt. The world will tell you to be ashamed of those parts. Society will tell you to put on a brave face and pretend that everything is fine. But what if I told you that the people who need to hear your story most are the ones who will find healing in it? What if I told you that your greatest strength lies in owning your pain? In sharing the parts of you that you think make you unworthy? When you stand tall in your story, you create space for others to do the same. Think about your journey so far. The times you felt abandoned, rejected, or misunderstood. Those moments didn't break you, even though they tried to. Those moments refined you. The heartbreak you experienced didn't destroy. It taught you how to love yourself first. The struggles you faced didn't define your future. They shaped it, making you more resilient, more compassionate, more aware of your own strength. Now let me ask you this. Why would you keep hiding that? Why would you keep running from the very thing that made you who you are today? Why would you allow others to tell you what's worthy of being shared and what isn't? If your story isn't for them to judge, it's for you to embrace, for you to own. When you own your story, you stop letting others control your narrative. You stop letting people define who you are, and instead you take back the power that's always been yours. In everyday life, we often forget how much of our power comes from the simple act of owning our truth. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others, thinking that their lives are somehow better, easier, or more put together. But the reality is, everyone has a story. Everyone has been through something. Everyone has faced challenges, made mistakes, and had moments they wish they could change. The difference is some people choose to hide their stories and others choose to own them. And those who own their stories are the ones who change the world. They are the ones who inspire us to stand in our own truth, to stop running from our past, and to trust that we are enough just as we are. Think about someone you admire, maybe a friend, a mentor, or even someone you've never met. A network error occurred. Please check your connection and try again. If this issue persists, please contact us through our help center at help@openai.com. We live in a world that is constantly buzzing with noise, people telling us what we should think, what we should feel, what we should believe. It's easy to lose sight of who we are in all that noise, to forget the power that resides within our own minds. The truth is, your mind is the most powerful tool you will ever possess. And yet, most people fail to cultivate it. They don't nourish it, they don't challenge it, and they don't allow it to grow. But here's the secret. If you want to change your life, you must first cultivate your mind. Just like a garden, your mind needs care, attention, and intentional effort. It needs to be nurtured with positivity, challenged with new ideas, and fed with wisdom. When you learn how to do that, you unlock a level of potential that is unimaginable. Think about it. Everything you see around you started with a thought. This phone, this computer, the chair you're sitting in, everything was once just an idea in someone's mind. But those people didn't just have an idea and sit back and wait for it to happen. They cultivated their minds. They didn't just let their minds wander aimlessly or fall prey to distractions. They took the time to feed their minds with knowledge, to challenge their assumptions, and to believe that what they thought mattered. So how do you cultivate your mind? It starts with how you view your thoughts. Most people go through life accepting the thoughts that come to them as gospel truth without ever questioning them. They allow fear to dominate their decisions, they accept self-doubt as reality, and they let their past mistakes define their future. But when you cultivate your mind, you start to understand that your thoughts are not facts. They are just thoughts. And not every thought you have is worth holding on to. Some thoughts are limiting, some are negative, and some are completely false. If you don't actively challenge these thoughts, they will define the way you live your life. But when you choose to question them, when you choose to replace them with empowering beliefs, you begin to reshape your reality. Think about a time when you were about to do something important, whether it was a big presentation, a job interview, or a personal challenge. What were the thoughts going through your mind? Were they positive and empowering, or were they filled with doubt, fear, and insecurity? We all experience this, and it's in these moments that the battle for our minds begins. It's in these moments that we must choose whether to let fear control us or to stand firm in our belief that we are capable. You have the power to choose your thoughts, and when you cultivate your mind, you learn to choose thoughts that serve you, not those that hold you back. One of the most powerful ways to cultivate your mind is through learning. The more you learn, the more you expand your world. And I'm not just talking about formal education, though that's important too. I'm talking about feeding your mind with ideas, with stories, with knowledge that challenges you to think differently. Read books that make you uncomfortable. Listen to podcasts that push you to think outside the box. Surround yourself with people who inspire you to grow. The world is full of wisdom, but it's only through active learning that you can tap into it. Look at someone like Elon Musk, for example. He didn't become a billionaire by sticking to what he knew. He cultivated his mind by constantly challenging his own beliefs and expanding his knowledge in fields that were unfamiliar to him. He read books on rocket science when he had no formal education in it. He learned about electric cars when no one believed in them. And most importantly, he believed that his mind had the power to solve problems that others thought were unsolvable. His mind was constantly in motion, constantly seeking answers, constantly evolving. That's the power of a cultivated mind. It doesn't settle for the status quo. It challenges it. It changes it. It creates something new. But cultivating your mind isn't just about filling it with information. It's also about quieting it down. In the hustle and bustle of life, it's easy to get lost in the noise. We're constantly bombarded with messages, expectations, and demands. But in order to truly cultivate your mind, you need to make time for silence, for stillness. Meditation, reflection, or simply sitting in silence can help you clear the mental clutter and create space for new ideas to flourish. When your mind is constantly distracted, it's hard to hear your true voice, to recognize your true desires. But when you create space for silence, you begin to hear the whispers of your intuition, the wisdom that's been there all along. Consider a time when you were trying to solve a problem, and the more you thought about it, the more frustrated you became. The answer seemed to slip further and further away, no matter how hard you tried to think your way to it. Now, think about a time when you stepped away from the problem, took a break, and let your mind rest. It was in those moments of stillness that the solution appeared, almost out of nowhere. This is the power of a cultivated mind. When you allow it the space to breathe, when you stop forcing it to constantly churn, you create room for creativity, insight, and inspiration to flow in. But the most important part of cultivating your mind is belief. Belief in your ability to shape your reality, belief in your capacity to learn, and belief in your worth. It's so easy to get caught in the trap of self-doubt, to think that you're not smart enough, not capable enough, not deserving enough. But the truth is, you are. The more you nurture your mind with empowering beliefs, the more you begin to see evidence of your capability. You start to believe that you can learn new things, that you can achieve your goals, that you can become the person you've always wanted to be. You don't need to wait for permission to cultivate your mind. You don't need to wait for the perfect time or the perfect circumstances. The time to start is now. Start with the small things: reading a book, learning a new skill, challenging a limiting belief. These small actions will build over time, and before you know it, your mind will be transformed. And as your mind transforms, so will your life. Because when you cultivate your mind, you open the door to unlimited potential, and that is a door worth walking through. We live in a world that is constantly pulling at us from all directions, demanding our attention, our time, our energy. There's an overwhelming pressure to be available at all times, to answer every message, to show up for every event, to please every person who asks for a piece of us. And somewhere along the way, we've been taught that being available is a sign of generosity, of being a good friend, a good partner, a good employee. But what if I told you that constantly being available isn't a strength? What if I told you that being selective about where you put your energy is not only okay, but absolutely necessary for your growth and well-being? The truth is, not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone should be allowed to take up space in your life or claim your time. It's not about being selfish. It's about being intentional. It's about protecting your energy, your peace, and your focus. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And if you're constantly saying yes to everyone else, you're going to find yourself drained, unfulfilled, and stretched too thin. Think about it. How often have you agreed to something out of obligation just because you didn't want to disappoint someone? How many times have you said yes when you should have said no, only to find yourself resentful, frustrated, or even regretful later? We've all been there. We've all been so eager to be seen as helpful, as supportive, as good enough, that we forget that we are the ones who have to live with the consequences of our choices. Now let's break this down. When you are available to everyone, you are, in essence, being available to no one. Least of all, yourself. You can't be fully present in your relationships, your work, or even in your own self-care if you're constantly running on empty, if you're constantly giving bits of yourself away without pause or consideration. The real magic happens when you start choosing where you invest your time, who you give your energy to, and which opportunities align with your values and goals. When you begin to be selective, you start to honor your own needs and boundaries, and in doing so, you create space for the things that truly matter. Look at your life for a moment. How many people have access to your time without earning it? How many activities or commitments are you holding on to simply out of habit or fear of missing out? The truth is, when we say yes to everything, we end up saying no to the things that actually align with our purpose, our dreams, and our deepest desires. We give our time away to people and situations that leave us feeling drained without ever asking ourselves if they are truly worthy of our attention. Imagine this. You're at a point in your life where you have big dreams, goals, and ambitions. You want to build something meaningful, whether it's a career, a business, a family, or a personal transformation. Every minute of your day counts. But then someone asks you to do something that isn't aligned with your goals, something that doesn't help you move forward. What do? Do you say yes out of guilt or pressure? Or do you say no, knowing that every yes to something that doesn't serve your purpose is a no to your own dreams? Being selective isn't about being cold, distant, or unkind. It's about being conscious of where your energy is going. It's about being aware of what drains you and what fuels you. There are people in your life who deserve your time, who make you feel alive, who inspire you, who encourage your growth, and who uplift you. These are the relationships that you should prioritize, the ones you should make space for. But there are also people, situations, and opportunities that drain you, that take more than they give, that hold you back. It's these that you need to learn to say no to. Think about it. The most successful people in the world don't say yes to everything. They understand that their time is their most valuable asset, and they protect it fiercely. They are selective about who they spend time with, what they invest their energy in, and where they direct their focus. Oprah, for example, has spoken many times about how she learned the power of saying no. She realized that saying yes to everything was a fast track to burnout. She had to be selective in choosing the people and the projects that aligned with her purpose, and as a result, she built an empire. It wasn't that she wasn't available, but rather that she chose where to be available. Let's take a closer look at the idea of availability in our personal relationships. How many of us have stayed in toxic relationships simply because we didn't want to hurt someone's feelings? How many of us have kept people in our lives who only bring negativity or chaos simply because we didn't know how to say no? Being available all the time doesn't mean being available to the people who don't honor or respect your boundaries. True love and true friendship are not about giving all your time away without thinking. It's about quality, not quantity. It's about being there for the right people in the right moments and in a way that nourishes both you and them. When you're selective, you create deeper, more meaningful connections because you're no longer just showing up. You're showing up with intention. The same applies to your career or any goals you're working toward. When you say yes to every opportunity that comes your way, you spread yourself too thin, you lose focus, you lose momentum. Being selective allows you to pour all of your energy into the opportunities that will truly advance your growth. It means saying no to the distractions and yes to the things that align with your vision. It means realizing that every yes you say to something that isn't in alignment with your purpose is a no to something that could take you further. When you begin to be selective about where you put your time and energy, you'll find that you have more of both. You'll have more energy to devote to the things and people that truly matter. You'll have more time to focus on your own growth, to learn, to create, and to build. You'll find that the more you protect your time, the more that time seems to expand as it's filled with purpose, passion, and intention. So don't be afraid to be selective. Don't be afraid to say no when it's necessary. Don't feel guilty for setting boundaries. In fact, start seeing it as an act of self-respect, as an act of self-love. When you are intentional about where you invest your time and energy, you honor yourself. And when you honor yourself, you give the world the best version of you, one that is focused, energized, and fully present. In a world that constantly tries to pull you in 1,000 different directions, peace becomes not just a luxury, but a necessity. It's the foundation of your strength, the very core that allows you to navigate through life with purpose, grace, and clarity. But here's the thing, peace is not something you can take for granted. You have to protect it like a weapon, guarding it fiercely from the chaos, the distractions, the negative people, and the situations that threaten to disrupt it. Why? Because once you lose your peace, you lose your power. Once you allow your peace to be disturbed, you allow everything else to fall apart. Peace is your inner fortress, and it's time to treat it like the treasure it is. Think about your daily life. How often do you feel like you're walking on a tightrope, trying to balance everything and everyone around you? We live in a world that celebrates hustle, that demands constant productivity, that expects you to be on all the time. People bombard you with expectations, family, friends, work, society, the world. They all want a piece of you. But here's the truth, not everything deserves access to your peace. Not every situation needs your emotional investment. Not every person deserves a front row seat to your inner calm. And when you allow that balance to be disrupted, when you give away your peace too easily, you give away your power. You give away your ability to think clearly, to make decisions, and to protect your energy. There's a story that comes to mind. A person is sitting at home, scrolling through social media. Suddenly they read a comment, a criticism, criticism or something that sets them off. Immediately, their heart rate increases, their mood shifts, and their day starts to spiral. This small, insignificant comment has taken over their entire state of mind, and before they know it, their peace has been shattered. But here's the question: why did they allow someone else's words to steal their peace? Why let someone's opinion, someone's negative energy control their entire emotional state? The reality is, we all have moments like this. We let external forces disturb the quiet within us, and we allow ourselves to get caught up in the drama, the negativity, the noise. But if you want to live a life of purpose, if you want to achieve your goals, if you want to feel empowered and unshakable, you must learn to protect your peace like a weapon. How many times have you felt drained by someone else's drama, someone who constantly brings negativity into your life, who thrives on chaos and conflict, who seems to find a problem in everything? And how often have you found yourself caught up in it, trying to fix it, trying to please them, trying to make peace with them, all while your own peace slips away like sand through your fingers? The truth is, not everyone deserves access to your peace. Not everyone deserves to take up space in your life, especially if they only bring chaos. You don't have to engage with every problem, every conflict, or every opinion that doesn't align with your truth. You don't have to absorb every bit of negativity that comes your way. When you protect your peace, you choose not to let others dictate your emotional state. Protecting your peace isn't just about avoiding conflict or negativity. It's about setting boundaries. It's about deciding what you will and won't tolerate. It's about learning to say no when something doesn't feel right. It's about recognizing when a situation, a person, or even an environment is threatening your inner calm and choosing to remove yourself from it or to limit your exposure to it. But here's the key. Protecting your peace doesn't mean running away from challenges. It doesn't mean avoiding tough conversations or conflict. It means engaging with those challenges from a place of strength, from a place of inner calm, from a place where you are grounded in who you are and what you value. It means standing firm in your truth regardless of what's happening around you. Consider this: you've got a big goal. You've got dreams you're working toward, a vision of the life you want to build. And every day, the world throws distractions your way, people who want your time, your energy, your attention, your focus. Negative thoughts that arise in your own mind, feeding you doubts and fears. But if you're constantly allowing these distractions to dictate your life, if you're constantly reacting to the noise, you'll never get closer to your goals. You'll never get any closer to the peace that is necessary to achieve greatness. You must protect your peace like a weapon, because it is the weapon that will fuel your focus, your determination, and your drive. Let's say you've been working towards something for a long time, pouring your energy into a project, a career, a relationship, or a personal goal. Then suddenly someone criticizes you, or you face a setback, or something doesn't go as planned. It's easy to get caught up in the disappointment, to let the frustration take over. But protecting your peace means choosing not to let that setback define you. It means acknowledging the disappointment without allowing it to steal your energy, your clarity, or your belief in yourself. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond. You can choose to react with peace, with patience, with faith in the process. Another example, you've got a toxic friend or colleague who is constantly trying to drag you into they call you up with complaints, problems, and negativity. They feed off your attention, your empathy, your emotional energy, and every time you engage, you feel drained, exhausted, like you've just fought a battle. Protecting your peace means recognizing that you don't have to entertain every negative conversation. You don't have to be the emotional sponge for someone else's issues. You can choose to lovingly set boundaries, to distance yourself, or to change the subject. You are not responsible for carrying the weight of other people's emotional baggage. Protecting your peace is about understanding that it's okay to prioritize your own well-being. It's time to recognize that your peace is is sacred. It's the fuel that keeps you going. It's the foundation of your mental health, your emotional well-being, and your personal success. When you protect your peace, you create the space for clarity, for creativity, for joy, and for power. You stop reacting to the chaos around you, and instead you become the calm in the storm. Life will always throw challenges your way. People will always try to steal your energy, and obstacles will appear on your path. But when you protect your peace, you hold on to the one thing that no one can ever take from you. Your peace becomes your shield, your weapon, your superpower. And once you understand that nothing will ever be able to shake you, imagine a time when you first fell in love, when every thought, every moment, every heartbeat seemed to be connected to the person you loved. You couldn't wait to talk to them, share your day, or just be in their presence. You listened to them with an open heart, trusted them with your fears, your hopes, your dreams, and your vulnerabilities. You didn't just love them in passing. You loved them with everything you had, with everything that made you who you are. That kind of love, unwavering, unconditional, all-encompassing, is the way we are meant to walk with God. When we speak about walking with God like He's your first love, it's not just about seeking Him when things are tough or when you're in need. It's about cultivating a relationship with Him that mirrors the passion and intensity of a first love, where every part of your day, every decision, every step you take is grounded in your love and trust for Him. God is not just an afterthought. He is the center, the anchor, the one you turn to with the same excitement and anticipation as when you first discovered that deep connection. In our daily lives, we get so caught up in the rush, the responsibilities, the obligations, the distractions, that we forget the core of our purpose. We become consumed with the world around us, and in doing so, we often lose sight of the one who created us. But when you walk with God like He's your first love, you make room for Him in every corner of your life. You remember the joy of His presence and the sweetness of His voice. It's like the early days of a relationship when you can't get enough of the other person. And every moment is an opportunity to grow closer. When you walk with God like that, you find that there is no greater joy, no greater peace, and no greater fulfillment than being with Him. Think about the excitement of discovering someone you truly care about. You're eager to spend time with them, to listen to their words, to understand their heart. You feel drawn to them, not because of what they can give you, but because of who they are. In the same way, walking with God like He's your first love means drawing near to Him, not because you're looking for answers to your problems, but because you want to know Him, love Him, and grow in intimacy with Him. It's about spending time with God not as a duty, but as a desire, as a joy, and as a privilege. Take a look at the relationships you treasure most. You wouldn't just call someone your best friend or partner without investing in the relationship. You don't just go through the motions, you actively choose to prioritize that relationship. Whether it's through deep conversations, shared experiences, or quiet moments together. Walking with God is no different. You can't just expect the relationship to deepen if you're not investing in it. You have to seek Him in the quiet moments, in the everyday rhythms of life, and in the moments when you feel most disconnected. You have to choose to walk with Him, not as a last resort, but as the first and most important priority of your day. When we fall in love with someone, we become more attuned to their needs, their heart, and their desires. We learn to give of ourselves freely because we care deeply about them. Walking with God like He's your first love means seeking His heart above all else. It's about desiring to align your will with His, to serve Him with every fiber of your being, and to be obedient, not because you have to, but because you want to. It's about loving Him so much that your actions, your thoughts, and your words reflect that love. But what does this actually look like in our everyday lives? It's waking up in the morning and thanking God for the gift of a new day. It's praying before making decisions, big or small, and asking for guidance. It's seeking His peace in the midst of chaos and trusting Him to lead you through life's challenges. It's turning to Him in your joy, your sorrow, your triumphs, and your struggles, knowing that He is always present, always ready to listen and always eager to be in relationship with you. It's making time for him even when life seems overwhelming, because you know that he is the one who sustains you. Just like a first love makes you want to share your life, your heart, your thoughts, and your plans, walking with God is about making him a part of every detail of your life. It's trusting him with your future, your desires, your fears, and your weaknesses. It's being vulnerable enough to let him in, to allow him to shape you, to guide you, and to transform you into who he has always known you to be. You allow him to direct your path, to whisper his wisdom into your heart, and to give you the courage to follow his lead, even when it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. In every relationship, there's a level of trust that must be built. And trust comes from knowing someone, knowing their heart, knowing their character, and knowing their intentions toward you. The more you walk with God, the more you come to know his heart. You begin to understand that he desires nothing but the best for you. You begin to see that he has been with you through every season, whether high or low, and that his love for you never wavers. The closer you walk with him, the more you understand that his plans for you are good, even when things seem difficult or uncertain. Think about the depth of your first love. There's a connection that goes beyond the surface. It's a bond that strengthens over time, a love that deepens with every shared moment. The same is true with God. When you walk with him like he's your first love, the relationship becomes deeper, richer, and more fulfilling. You discover new aspects of his character, new layers of his love, and new depths of his grace. It's a journey of knowing him more intimately every single day. And like a true first love,